We're back with Open Innovation Week. Thanks to everyone who is watching us live. And now, to continue today's presentation, I invite Mr. Marco Bego, Executive Director of Hospital das Clínicas, and Ms. Márcia Ogawa, Partner Technology and Telecom Industry Leader of Deloitte.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thanks Márcia Ogawa for always supporting InovaHC in our projects, and Deloitte and the Japan Trading for inviting me for participating this project or this summit. For starters, I will make a short presentation about HC and InovaHC, and then present two examples of projects that were based on real and complex problems. InovaHC was built for the development of an innovation ecosystem in health. It is an open innovation program which runs the innovation from outside to inside and from inside to outside the Hospital das Clínicas of the University of São Paulo Medical School. We focus on using innovation to solve complex problems and transfer scientific, technological, and cultural knowledge for the community. HC is the largest hospital complex in Latin America. It has 75 years of activity, 8 specialized institutes such as radiology, pediatrics, orthopedics, heart disease, and cancer. In addition, it has 66 research laboratories in the medical field with more than 200 research lines. It has more than 20,000 employees, more than 2,500 beds, 106 surgery rooms, more than 1 million outpatient visits per year, and a rich database with more than 5 petabytes. At the InovaHC, we understand that innovation is not done alone, so the construction and maintenance of an ecosystem has always been a decisive factor for success. This figure represents the mapping of the ecosystem where InovaHC is inserted, and is the result of a work that we did to organize our innovation projects in line with health needs and integrated with the government, the university, companies, the source of resource, and the civil society in general. Today, we have actions to aim to strengthen each of these verticals. InovaHC started the operation on a regular basis in 2018, and in the last 2 years, we have managed to connect more than 70 startups in our ecosystem. We have collaboration agreements inside and outside Brazil, and projects with various specialties with public and private partners, and often both together. Our structure consists of a space for startups that we call Distrito InovaHC, inside the HC with 900 square meters, and artificial intelligence laboratory and support areas with auditoriums. The accelerator is a joint project with a private company, and today we have installed inside the HC about 30 startups and many national and multinational companies that execute their innovation projects within InovaHC. As an example, AstraZeneca, which has its Innovation HealthTech lab in this area. In this space, we also have what we call HealthTech 4.0 experience, which is a place to explore, test, and apply disruptive technologies together with our partners, doctors, researchers, and public in general. The Artificial Intelligence Laboratory was built in a partnership between HC, Siemens, and Deloitte to accelerate the use of AI in healthcare. The use of AI in health in Brazil is still small. Many companies and professionals still do not have processes on how to use or buy AI-based products, and in this laboratory we have actions for these experimentations. The laboratory support structures. The laboratory support structures are HC's data lake and our challenging and training platform called Orbia. Today, in the lab has projects in the areas of lung, breast, bone marrow, and cancer. In the sport areas, we have innovation events every month, such as startup weekends and guys like that. In addition to the thematic projects in the innovation model of InnovaHC, we maintain 3 general programs. One aimed at researchers who have projects that could become a product or service with social impact or for business. An incubator for startups in the beginning stage of operation, which aims to improve the MVP and business plan. An acceleration program to help startups scale their products and service. More details can be found on the InnovaHC websites. As an examples of projects that we execute within InnovaHC, there are 2 that I would like to share with you. The first one is the use of AI for actions to fight against COVID-19. It is a project that aims to build a platform so that we could offer AI algorithms to assess the likelihood of positive COVID-19 and involvement of the lung parenchyma to do wellness. As Brazil is a huge country and with structural differences, our challenge was to choose or develop the best algorithm to build a platform that, regardless of the local structures, the hospital could use the service, which in this case were free. Here is an example of how the platform was designed. The hospitals send its exams for a cloud system that receives the images, anonymizes them, and sends them to the AI algorithm. After at least 5 minutes, the algorithm returns the report and the image is marked with the area of the lung affected by the disease. These images and the report are returned to the hospital of origin and are also stored in the project's data lake. We still have a set of experienced doctors to discuss the case and issue a second opinion if necessary. This platform started operating on the 4th of May. We spent 45 days until the first version, and the results so far, more than 20,000 platform accesses. Almost 50 hospitals are using the AI platform. We have already analyzed almost 20,000 exams, and there are 5 algorithms working the platform. Three of them is the Brazilian startups. These results have been used to develop a methodology to use AI and test hypotheses and this kind of projects. Finally, I'd like to briefly introduce our digital health program. Our idea is through partnerships to develop digital health projects and with these use cases, understand which governance model is most appropriate, how to manage the needs for change. If the regulation is adequate, we face it with the reality, test the technologies offered by the market, the devices, and the interoperability between the various systems and equipment. How to help you with a proposal for a public purchase process, and how to maintain economic sustainability. In addition, of course, teaching and research with a focus on innovation and usability. Our projects that will be used as pilots are in the area of bone marrow transplantation and cover everything from primary care, the hospital environment, and the chronic patient. Thank you so much, and I hope I contribute to the discussion, and I'm ready to integrate InnovaHC into Japan trade initiatives. Thank you so much. Thank you, Márcia.
Thank you so much, Marco, for this, your brilliant presentation. And first of all, I'd like to thank Jethro for inviting us to participate in this event. And also I'd like to thank 100 Open Startups for the organization. So let me share my presentation. Mm-hmm. Okay, so having the introduction of Ikegaya-san's brief introduction about the opportunities in Japan, and also having Marco Bego from InnovaHC explaining the situation here in Brazil, I'd like, my presentation will be how Japanese companies can take advantage of our healthcare systems and healthcare innovation hub, and also to do the opposite, also how our healthcare system can take advantage of Japanese healthcare innovation hub. Okay, so let me share first. I think it's important for the Japanese companies understand where to invest in health tech in Brazil. So yesterday we had the presentation of startups, and also you are going to have more presentations about startups. But I'd like to share with you the rationale of how Deloitte Brazil is investing in health tech in Brazil. Okay, so just complementing what Marco Bego from InnovaHC explained, Deloitte Brazil, we are investing in why we selected InnovaHC as a point to invest, as a place to invest in Brazil, in health tech. Yeah, because of many reasons. First, because it congregates enterprise, startups, government, academia, and also they have an open innovation culture. I think as Marco said, there are several projects, several startups, strong collaboration with the government, strong collaboration with tech companies, big companies, and startups as well. So why we selected? Because first, also, we were able to do some research with the academics linked to the medical school at São Paulo University. As you might know, Hospital das Clínicas is inside of the inside the São Paulo University, which is the largest university in Latin America. So we understand that there is a great benefit if you invest in a research center like InnovaHC, because we would have contact with the students, with the researchers, with the professors of the university. So this is one reason. The second reason that we have invested at InnovaHC is the government funding mechanisms. So since they are a research center, they have already some government incentives that could be used by the technology companies that are based in Brazil. So even you have large multinationals that have a base here in Brazil, they can use some government incentives for innovation projects. So this facilitates a lot the creation of innovation projects. Third, it is the open innovation culture, because they have embedded in their culture open innovation. Usually when you go to the research centers, very academic research centers, sometimes it's very difficult to have relationship and also to promote joint projects with a very academic, typical academic institution in Brazil. But InnovaHC is a little bit different. They have a different culture, different mindset, and they are very open to the best technology in the world. And linked to this also, their laboratory at InnovaHC is a test bed for new technologies. So we are running some projects like the one that he has presented in AI. It was very emerging project, and it's a test bed for new technology. So we are currently engaged in a new project that we are going to test some sensors, some biosensors inside the laboratory. And also, which is very important that Ikegaya-san mentioned in the beginning, what's really important for the Japanese companies is that they could have access to data. So within InnovaHC, we are building the largest data lake for structured and non-structured data. So we are in this data lake, we are storing patient data, images, and other data that is relevant for research. And also, since we have at InnovaHC, we have a strong relationship with the Brazilian government and the regulators. These laboratories became a regulatory sandbox to test new regulations in advanced tech. For example, in the previous project that Marco mentioned about AI, we discussed a lot about AI, usage of AI in Brazil, concerned to the related to the privacy laws in Brazil. And also the other new project that I'm conducting there, for example, tracing patients or monitoring patients. This is also a theme that is very sensitive when we are talking about privacy. So this is the reason that we have invested and we're still investing at InnovaHC, right? And what would be the benefit if you have those features, yeah, for life science companies? Yeah, life science companies would need some data to test, for example, algorithms, to test new drugs, to test drugs in patients with different backgrounds. So, for example, at the COVID, our researchers, once we had the data from the COVID, and our researcher has also studied the COVID effect in the northeast of Brazil and southeast, and which kind of a virus it seems to be different from the northeast and southeast in Brazil. So Brazil is very large, so it's a huge population with a mix of blood and different cultures. So that's the reason that it's very good for life sciences company. And also for medtech companies. Since this is a test bed for new technologies, for medtech, it will be wonderful to test those new technologies and to do the stretch and the usage in the emerging country, which is completely different when we're talking about medtech for developed countries. When we're talking about medtech for underdeveloped countries, it's a completely different technology. It's a different use case that could be replicated to other developing countries or underdeveloping countries. Telecom companies. So, of course, all those projects, we rely upon lots of connectivity. So 5G will be heavily tested at InnovaHC. All types of connectivity of 5G, we're going to test at InnovaHC. Insurance, as Ikegaya-san told us, health insurance also needs data. And health insurance also needs co-creation with new techs in order to have better models. So working with this research institute, we can access this type of data. Trading companies as well, since we are going to have this interchange of technologies between Brazil and Japan, the trading companies will take a bigger role here. And also, of course, Japanese startups. When I saw those Japanese startups that Ikegaya-san showed to us in the beginning, it would be very nice if they could also be present in Brazil and be part of our projects in Brazil. okay? So I will not repeat the use case, the content that Marco presented about the COVID, but I'd like to highlight one point, which is the results of the project, which is very important. How we build projects with InovaHC and with the Brazilian government. It's very important to draft a project that have many different views for research, for education, and to develop local startups. So that project that we have envisioned with the InovaHC in AI in COVID, so the results was to help the hospitals that are in the underserved areas in Brazil, especially in the North and Northeast, because we provided that platform for AI for the hospitals that are underserved. So one objective is really help the public health sector in Brazil. So this is one point. The other point is the research, because since we have accumulating that project several data, we were able, we have a rich raw material for life science company. So Novartis participated in our project, and also for the technology companies to improve their algorithms. Okay, so Siemens participated in our project. And also for the startups to test and train their models. So we have right now 5 startups engaged in this local startups engaged in this project. So this is another big objective of the project. Okay, so when we need to draft a project, it's important to draft a project that have a broader view with multiple stakeholders, so that several stakeholders can benefit from this project. And also, final remarks. What are the opportunities for Japanese companies? My thought is, since we have here those Japanese companies that we have, life sciences companies, medtech companies, telecom companies in Japan, health insurance companies in Japan, trading companies and startups. And those companies, we need to have an ecosystem that will be able to co-create projects, co-create products and services, so that we have benefits from both countries, benefits from Japanese companies and benefits from also from Brazil in terms of local research and academia, co-creation of products, serve public health services, local tech companies. So I think in this way, when we have this win-win situation, we are going to have business, we are going to have improved government relations, we are going to have improved public policies, and also we are going to have improved regulation in Brazil. I assume that this is my view in terms of how Brazil and Japan can collaborate in the healthcare in Brazil. So thank you so much. I would like to return to Marco. And if you have any doubt, please send us in the chat. Thank you so much for the opportunity.